I want to make sure to do this though before we get out of here this week. This is the newest Star Wars series, Acolyte. Going to be out on Disney Plus. I'm not exactly sure when. It'll probably tell us in the trailer. But this is a new trailer that dropped. I wanted to share it with you guys, get your guys' opinion, and also share our opinion, obviously, with how we feel about it. So let's get into it. Make sure we're at the beginning. All right, there you go. Yeah.
Close your eyes. Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them. Tell me what comes into your mind.
Life. Balance. I see fire.
No.
Someone is killing Jedi.
You want to pause it real quick? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, since we're using knives.
Oh, I'm not sure.
What is this?
I think it might be some undercover Jedi shit, but
there's a lightsaber.
By the way, in case you weren't able to tell, that is the what's her name? I don't remember her name right now, but it'll come to me. The lady who played Trinity in The Matrix.
Oh,
she's that's the lady that turned around slowly, so they can unveil that. So hopefully that gives this show some credibility. So far, we'll see.
It doesn't make sense.
What happened?
I sensed darkness.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
What is that?
Plus, make sure you unsubscribe as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Close your eyes.
Is this a book, or is this just like they just created this? Is John Favreau part of this?
Not that I. So as far as like it being a book, not that I'm aware of. There's
Where
a
does
lot
it
of
take
books.
place?
There's a lot of books that this could be based off of, because Disney, when we were growing up and before Disney bought them, they had this thing called the Expanded Universe. So you could read books about like Luke Skywalker shit going on and all that. But when Disney bought them, they immediately said, okay, none of that is going to be canon. So none of that's going to be like true to the story. It's going to be a part of this called Star Wars Legends. Not to get too deep into the bullshit. So here, let me share the screen with you guys so you guys can see some of the details that we're going to start looking at when we're looking at the series real quick. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm gonna be honest. One of the things that definitely stands out in this trailer, is are fucking white men gonna be able to get roles in fucking movies anymore?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look, I'm gonna be honest, brother. You're seeing the transformation into a conservative right before your eyes. Because I will say,
I'm telling you, by the end of the day, it's like I'm by myself over here.
When I watch this, I'm not gonna lie. PBD, they got me a little bit with the fucking the DEI standards. What the fuck is going on?
You got 50% of the roles deal with it. Congrats, white men.
Are there 50% of the roles though? Hold on, time out. What the fuck are you talking about right now, brother? 50%.
Look, there's two right there.
All right, this guy right here and this guy.
Yeah, white and white.
Would you say that's 50%? And I'm not saying that they need to get 50%, but I don't even know who these people were.
What is it? It was like 50%.
I didn't see these motherfuckers.
It's like 50% have to be a minority group,
no, well,
and then the 50% don't have to be.
That's with their hiring practices generally, and it did include films. But I mean, I don't know that means that they don't. Also, does that like include like extras and shit like that?
No idea.
As far as these main actors, this isn't 50%. Unless you're conflating like whites.
Does it have to be a white story?
Oh, it doesn't have to be a white story, but
yeah, every other Star Wars.
We don't. Though.
Nope, I take that back. I haven't seen that new one.
Yeah, have you seen Ahsoka?
Listen,
that was
man.
all women too. What the fuck are we talking about?
My wife needs to watch them so I can watch them.
Ahsoka I actually like too. That's what I'm saying. I'm not somebody that's like against. I'm not necessarily against this if it's done well. Ahsoka was actually dope. Ahsoka was sick. But this
you're voting for him.
This Acolyte shit, I'm not gonna lie, it's distracting because it is like, hold on,
Jeez.
it's just like, come on, bro. Look at
Don't teach my kids see her,
the
dude.
fucking cast, bro. Like, there's literally until we get to the end here, which, like I said, I don't know who these guys were. I didn't see them in the trailer, but
there's a lot of white women. Bro, 1, 2,
I'm not
3.
accepting that. What the fuck? That's
talking about, bro. And these two are Asian. I mean, where do we categorize them?
Where the fuck do you categorize them? I'm saying, listen, when we look at it overall, like I said, you have women. This is just an extreme thing. When it gets to the point to where the storytelling is being you're being distracted from the storytelling by like some kind of like, it is a ridiculous level of, I mean, if you want to call it representation, that's
what
fine.
are we supposed to do? Honest, but what do we want? So does it have to be X amount of white people to make people feel comfortable, or
where the fuck
could
the
like is it the actors that they chose and it was like, oh, okay.
Oh, hold on. Well, okay, so now representation doesn't matter from the other perspective.
Oh, come
I'm
on.
asking.
You're looking at.
Well, I'm asking you. Doesn't it?
Are we lacking representation in the white community here?
Well, if it's not something that you address, is it not possible that? I mean, in this case, I would say that we are lacking, at least from white.
In one show.
Well, I mean, and then like I said, Ahsoka. The thing is, it just hasn't been an issue for me because this typically wouldn't be an issue. But if it's gonna be like so consistent, I think it has been consistent. Like I said, Ahsoka. Let's pull up their cast. Let's pull up their cast.
Okay, so you had the original Star Wars is all white. Besides the
are we making up for that, or are we making movies?
And then in the ones in the 2000s, all white. Besides Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And
so, like I said, are you making up for that, or like what are you doing?
I don't know. Again, I'm just saying.
That's what you're doing.
I'm just saying how there's already white storylines. What does it matter? I mean, what does it? Why do we have to pick apart everything that's not white?
Yeah, I will say here they're showing a lot of whites, but just to keep it 1,000. I mean, I knew there was a lot of whites. It just
feels as if like. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I was gonna say I knew there was a lot of whites, but this cast specifically was like heavy on like females for main characters, which once again is fine. I think in this is actually a case, one of the few cases I think they've actually done this really well. Which actually the Rotten Tomatoes spells that out
like
here, but
it's not just with races, even with gender, right? So like. We've always had superhero movies where the fucking superhero leads who are all male have their lineup moment and have their moment, right? Oh,
their lineup moment
where they line up and the camera pans and then they go in charge.
Okay, Ahsoka was good though. I'm talking to the comments. No, looks derivative. Probably a dumb story that doesn't make any sense. And by the way, just from what we just saw, it seems like somebody's hunting down the Jedis, probably after Order 66, I'm assuming. Agreed, people are kind of sick of the girl boss, and I like girl bosses. This will flop. And the guys are probably weak. Yeah, they probably make the guys total pussies, so they can make the women look stronger than them.
But like when
Ahsoka bombed.
When Marvel did their whole
that was a question. My bad, I didn't realize it was a question.
In Infinity War, whatever. What was when they did like the women of Marvel like lined up in the big battle, right?
Yeah,
that got eye rolls, and it's like, okay, so just because you look at it and go, oh, this I'm not used to this, so there must be making a stance, and they're making a stance, but it's the same fucking thing that you have seen in every other movie, but you don't notice it because it's what you're used to.
Well, and also
so just like this, every time we see
it's not done, but it's not done for the same reason. It's not done. So the thing that makes you roll your eyes is that you're like, oh my god, this was done to have this moment with women. Where when it's time for like Superman and Batman or whatever, all the people are going to stand around each other, whatever the fuck kind of scenario you're talking about. It's like that has nothing to do with them being men. It just has to do with like all these characters.
So their characters have nothing to do with being strong, powerful men.
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying like though. No, but I'm saying I'm not. But that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that the comparison that you just made that makes people like cringe is like when the Ghostbusters were all put together. They weren't put together. I'm assuming, anyways. I guess maybe you'll have some kind of issue with this, but I imagine they weren't put together as, hey, these need to be men fighting ghosts. But then later on, when you have a movie made with what seems to be
that was
the
stupid.
main point being,
Yeah.
let's have a bunch of ladies fighting ghosts because ladies can fight it too.
Yeah,
and
that was a reach.
Even in that case, you're going to have Chris Hemsworth then play into this kind of like thing that you're trying to do, the statement you're trying to make. So now it separates yourself from, let's make the most funny possible movie possible. Is now you're like, we want to make some kind of like weird statement about, now Chris Hemsworth is a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
at the behest of all these ladies.
That I didn't. Yeah,
Which, like I said,
that was dumb. I didn't like that remake.
I'm good with these if they're done in like good faith. I think that I'm trying to think, like for Wonder Woman being a character that's been woman forever and all that, I think that was done well the first time they did it. I enjoyed it. It's a female character, so I don't have a problem with these characters being put at the forefront. It's just when it's cringe is when it's like, that is the purpose for you doing that. If you recast Batman and Superman and make them women, that's going to be cringe. That's kind of what you did with Ghostbusters. That doesn't have to be,
the Ghostbuster one was like
it doesn't have to be an all-lady team to make up for the fact that there was an all-man team before too. Those characters were already written that way in the source material.
Yeah, but you can write just like there's all the cowboy, all the macho man, tough guy, die hard shit. You can write movies the same way for women, and it doesn't have to be met with so much combat.
But why don't you?
And again, it's just like with minorities. Why does every movie that comes out that isn't white led? You go, oh well, how many minorities are you going to put in the film? And it's like, oh fucking well.
Okay, so
why does everything have to have a white lead?
Well, I don't agree with that, because I mean, it's not that it has to have a white lead. It's that there has to. This is a pander fest. This is a pander fest.
I disagree.
It doesn't have to have a white lead, because there's plenty of movies that people watch, like the most recent Spider-Man. Like, it was an animated film.
But that's been a problem, though. Has there not been an argument against that? That why did they have to make Spider-Man black?
No, I haven't heard that. I've heard the argument. I've heard the argument previous to Tom Holland being cast as Spider-Man, when they were talking about like Donald Glover said he wanted to be Spider-Man, and people were like, "Why would you make Peter Parker black?" In that case, by the way, I wouldn't have an issue with that. If you made Peter Parker black, I would be cool with that, because it doesn't affect the character. We've had this conversation before, where I wouldn't have it. Literally, this one where it's like Spider-Man race has nothing to do with his story. But you know what? Actually, I would have an issue with if all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're gonna make Spider-Man black, his family's black, now Mary Jane's black, now Flash is black, now every single character in the story has to be black because we have to. I don't even know what
that would be a pandemic.
That hasn't happened, but that would be.
But in this case,
okay,
is there a way to tell the story without the main characters having to be white? Is the story about their race and them being different races, or is it just that those were the actors chosen for the roles?
Maybe. I mean, well, definitely they were the actors chosen for the roles, but were they the best actors chosen for the roles? We have no idea about that. So I mean, it's not. Well, the thing is, you can't say definitively that they were either.
What is, again? How can we? Why do we have to tell? Again, I'm still not understanding why do we have to tell a story and there has to be white leads?
You can't get stuck on this white lead thing.
Because I don't understand the issue. There are white characters, but there are white characters. So
there are white characters, but we're talking about white male characters too, specifically. So,
but how many do we want?
There weren't any in what we just saw. There were none. Did you see any?
Yes, I saw.
No, you saw them when I pulled up the cast, and there was white dudes that characters didn't even have fucking names listed by them. Which, by the way, we can pull it back because I know that was the case. So right, no, that was
that's Ahsoka.
All right, so right here,
see those two guys.
I don't know how I get the big screen. Okay, so so this guy does have Kilnaka, whoever the fuck that was, and then this guy doesn't have a character next to him.
Google hasn't caught up yet.
Because he probably wasn't in the fucking trailer, and he's probably also not of significance.
So how many white characters would you want, and white men would you have wanted in the movie to be satisfied?
I mean, I don't think there's
would one of the agents have to go?
Yeah, probably one of those agents have to go.
But my thing, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, maybe my thing is this has been kind of a consistent thing from this studio and other studios. But I mean, if we're going to point a studio out, this is Disney. So I mean, this has been, and we discussed, I don't think on camera.
Let me guess, is our people. I can't wait to see how many people boycott the Nigeria Disney movie coming out.
I think that already came out, brother. I think you
did it?
accidentally, boycotted it. I'm pretty sure.
No,
I think I saw it.
Did it hit movie theaters?
I thought it was on Plus. Disney Plus, but
maybe
not.
just on Plus. I thought
Maybe
it
not.
was
Either way, I don't know how many people, but that's not.
but
that's not the issue. The first point being is, like I said, this studio has a bad track record for that. If you consider it bad,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If you love it, then that's fine. You can love it, but it's like, for me, I do think that is an issue if you're going to sit here, because the thing is it's not even really something that you can even complain about without having the virtue signal like thrown back at you. That's like, well, why isn't it great? White people have been in stuff before. Well, what about white fucking guys who want to be actors now? Why should they pay some cost because fucking Mark Hamill was Luke Skywalker?
But again,
50 years ago?
Again, we are just jumping to the conclusion that was the scheme and plan.
Yeah,
and it's like, why? Well, where in today's society can we not believe in a story being told where there are two white guys, few Asians, and then a bunch of women, and that's where the storyline's going?
Like I said, when you say two white guys, we have no idea who these characters even are in the story. I didn't see any white dudes in the trailer personally. And here we have really dark. And trailer. Here we have it was a dark trailer, and it which you would think that they would like stand out the most. So then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 women. 5. So you have 5 women of different ethnicities mentioned in the casting before either of these white dudes are mentioned.
1, 2, 3, go. So okay. 3 men, 4, 5. So 5 men, 5 women.
Yeah, I mean
that is an even split. It's fucking
well, no,
even.
but we're saying, like I said, these guys are listed on the back end, and not even to say these are the best actors. Well, I mean,
now white people gotta be mentioned first.
Well, no, it's not that they have to be mentioned first. It just is indicative of the casting. You know what I mean? Like, this lady's probably mentioned first because she's the main fucking character.
Yeah, sure.
So there on and so forth.
Sure.
So just to say, I'm not saying like, oh, they just have to be mentioned. It's
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. like I really don't care if like what the ethnicity groups are. Like at this point, it's I enjoy the diversity that is indicative to
appreciate your Instagram
to the society. That is how we live in society. We are a mixed society. So what does it matter? Yeah. At this point, you're telling stories. So again, I'm not going to sit there and think that everything is a scheme just for it. Yes, they have in their hiring thing and the protocol that now they want 50%. Like we went over 50.
Yeah, they're open about the fact that they want to have some.
Which I said in the group chat, I love it. I think it's great. Like why not? Why shouldn't it be?
That could be great, and then that good idea could run rampant to a place to where it actually becomes harmful to whoever. So, well, here, I just want to read some of these comments. You think about that. I'd love to hear a good response. It's not black and white. It's just a story. It is the dumb, overpowered girl boss thing that is so dumb. So,
the woman empowerment. I get it, Jaded. You don't like women.
No, that really pisses you off. Women too have to be physically more badass than men to be powerful. That is dumb. That stupid Ghostbusters ruined it for everyone.
Dude, that was it was a fuck.
They really did fuck it up because that was just such a
fast track. Just to pander to the times. Yeah, 100% agree.
This debate should be a full show because these companies have ruined women roles. I mean, so I agree. And I think this is kind of like what I was trying to say as far as like, I have no issue with these roles. Like with this, we talked about this previously with the, Last of Us, when we talked about that being switched up for like a gay story. Like I don't have any issue with this in Last of Us, for example. You had a gay love story that was completely canon, that happened in the story, a character that was gay. I have no problem if that character is then in the story, is then represented in the story as such, and so on and so forth. That makes sense, and I wouldn't want to silence those stories. But when you're then taking these characters and then you are using them, in my opinion, to like overlay, and don't be wrong, I guess, like to your point, maybe just all these people were just the absolute best actors possible. That's possible.
Or who they envision. Now again, if in this story, if in the show, they're not talking about like, hey, it's good to see us here, because
it's good that we're in outer space
because we've never had because we've never had the opportunity. People like us, because it's always been Luke and Han Solo, and Anakin. Yeah. It's never been us.
Truly.
I'd appreciate the like, oh, this is pandering to some kind of inclusive like diversity. But if it's just that it literally has no part of the story, and it's
Yeah.
just them. They're like, oh, like I don't see the point. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like every type of movement always has its loud beginning, right? And it's true, like, yeah, throw it in your face, and we did that. And I do feel like it's kind of dying out. Everyone's kind of
Well, I think
kinda
people
going
are
with the
annoyed
flow.
with this. That's why it has to die out, because business is going to come first for corporations that want to stay in business.
Again,
So-
but we've talked about this. You just need 2, 3, 4% of people. Like, you don't need everybody.
Yeah.
So many people. So as much as people are going to be annoyed with fucking anything and everything, Mr. Beast
sure.
fixes eyesight, and people have an issue. He did it with reviews, and it's like, okay.
This is actually,
So-
by the way, 100 years before episode 1. So I said Order 66. This is before even Anakin was born.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
See, yeah. So whatever. They
Just that.
yeah,
That doesn't change anything about the fucking
they can
casting.
keep going down with all their stories all they want. I don't care. I probably won't watch it.
I mean, we'll see.
I'm so far
give it
behind
a
on
shot.
Star Wars because Lauren she will not watch them with me, and it's like she wants to watch the new ones. It's like you can't. Okay, you got to
Yeah.
watch the whole fucking
Oh,
thing.
she hasn't seen the old ones.
Man, no,
That's wild. Yeah, that's very wild.
it's annoying.
We may be a diverse society, but if you go to an HVAC company, most of the workers are men. Things just need to make sense.
Yeah, they are.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I
And
haven't worked with a woman in my field at all. HVAC.
Oh, nice. That must be awesome.
I've seen a couple women at supply stores, and you're like, whoa,
Just kidding.
where
Ladies
did
are
you
awesome.
come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think with this, when it gets to take away from the story and it feels like you're making some kind of like contemporary statement about society within your story, I think that's just, I don't have a problem with people getting jobs and stuff like that. The representation thing I think is nice, but I think that yeah, if it's starting to play into how you're even going to cast people, aside from just generally, not wanting to have a cast full of white people, I think that's good. But when it's the opposite, when you start to like be like, well, I want to exclude people from having opportunities, that can be worrisome. And I think that like I said, in this case, I didn't see either of these guys in the trailer. They could be fucking they could be aliens. They might not,
Or
even
they
show
could be
their white
surprise
skin.
characters who are now big time players. Who knows? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
But again,
let's
like,
let's look to see who Kaneka is. This guy is a Finnish actor and former basketball player. So how much you want to bet that he is a fucking alien? Oh, this guy's fucking Chewbacca. Okay. There you go. Cover their fucking disgusting white skin with hair.
But no, to answer the HVAC, like what if there was a movie about like an all women's like plumbing or HVAC? That could happen in real life. I mean, again, we're at this point where women like, hey, we can do things too. Like, fuck. Again, you don't have to be a man to do HVAC. You just have to be willing to stand on top of a ladder, go through truss and troubleshoot and get your hands dirty. Like you don't have to be a man. So it's like I wouldn't sit there and be like,
yeah, but it would be unrealistic if you're saying like, okay, this entire, sure, it can happen. We're not saying ladies can't be plumbers or HVAC, but if you made a movie and you're like, okay, this movie is a serious movie, not about some historic fucking HVAC company that was completely ran by women,
but it's pushing the idea that women can do that. What would be the problem?
Well, the problem
why would that bother?
Why
bother?
The problem would be it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Why? Because you haven't. Why again? What would make it not sense?
Your experience, why that doesn't make sense. Because you just told me you never worked with a woman in your field ever.
Because we live in a very conservative place, so obviously that's you got to go be a nurse.
They're not afforded the rights.
Okay, no, it's not that. It's just that obviously it's like it's not caught up. But we're also in a time where women are now doing more and more jumping into men's fields. So at the end of the day, I don't see where it would be possible for somewhere around in this fucking country there to be a group of 4 women who have been doing HVAC, because I have seen HVAC women do the job in supply stores to then say, hey, we can form our own company. And then, then make a movie just to say, hey, listen, you can do it.
Okay,
it's
so
not
now,
impossible.
So now refer to the,
it's not
my initial argument was, unless this movie is about an amazing tale about a fucking women's only HVAC company that exists somewhere, then it wouldn't make any sense, because it's counter. No, because it's counter to what is. So it's like
so everything has to be a factual story. Things can't be just a fucking story.
If you are making a story about an HVAC team, it is kind of important that it's if it's a serious movie, that it somewhat depicts reality. Like that. Isn't that what movies are typically trying to do?
Yeah, some.
They're trying to, even if they're making a fantastic thing, they
Why
want you
was
to
Charlie-
believe it.
Why was Charlie Angels a fucking thing? Women can't fight.
Nobody's saying women
Well,
can't fight.
no.
Women can be
How,
spies.
how many women have you seen beat a man's ass?
Women can be spies. I
How
don't know
many
what
times
you're
have you
talking
seen it? I mean, how many times have you seen it in
That's
your
not-
personal life? How many times? Or is it something that was just pandering? At the end of the day,
Not
it's
the
not
same.
impossible. I'm
Not
saying
the
it's not
same.
impossible.
Not the same.
I'm trying to think of a fucking movie that's in a man's field that they had a group of women do. League of Their Own.
Okay.
Like again, it was a great
Yeah.
movie that again pushed, yes, the narrative that women can play baseball too and softball too.
Sure.
What the fuck women can do?
How did League of Your
blue
Own end?
color-
I don't recall.
Oh man, I haven't watched the movie in a long time.
Okay, I don't recall.
I don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But I know Tom Hanks was alcoholic during it.
There you go. Nice.
Rose
nice.
O'Donnell's perfect in it.
Yeah.
But again, it's not impossible for it to be a again, if you want to say that the whole town is a bunch of fucking blue collar women, then fine, like whatever. That call bullshit. But at the end of the day, what makes it so believable? Again, we have men do everything that women
No,
can do. Women
It's
can
what
do what
would
men
make
can
it
do.
unbelievable. What you're saying,
But
that's
why
not
would it
what-
be unbelievable?
It's not what would
But
make
tell
it.
me why
hold
it
on.
would be
Well,
unbelievable.
let me respond then. So it's not what will make it unbelievable. It's about what makes it just not generally believable. So sure, that could happen. All that is possible in the world, but in 99% of our experiences out there, people that have experienced dealing with a real life fucking HVAC person, it's been a guy that you've dealt with. So of course, and the reason is, by the way, isn't just out of fucking happenstance. It's because they're mostly fucking guys.
Yes.
Okay,
So
well, that's
so
it.
what
That's
if so okay. So again, so you can't have a movie where again you have 4 women who all work for
Of
different
course
companies.
you can. Of course you can. Because
Boom,
you know,
boom, boom, and then they get
well, okay.
together and they decide, why don't we just work together and have a women's? Oh, okay, boom. Then they get together and
There
then
you
they
go.
do it.
Okay, that
What
you
does
just-
it
you just touched on
matter?
it. No,
So
you
what
just
does that
now touched on
matter
it.
though?
Because no, you actually just now touched on it. I already said this. Then yeah, you're right. The entire movie would have to be of this unlikely story of these women that created a fucking HVAC company because it never happened. So in order for us to buy into it, you would have to play into the rarity of it. It would have to be like, don't we all just want to create a fucking company? And we, by the way, it would still do terrible. And not that an HVAC company movie would probably do great anyways. So to be fair,
No, it's really a boring storyline. Our lives were not fun. Okay.
just seeing somebody hate their life for fucking 2 hours.
Their life is not a fun one. I don't
I
advise
could
it.
just die in this attic. Nobody would care.
But again, it's just again like for many
I
things.
love it.
Like Mike, he got fucking
Yeah.
shoes and plays like Michael Jordan.
Sure.
How fucking believable. Again,
Well,
no, that's not
okay.
a serious movie.
Yeah,
But
it's
again,
not meant to be taken serious at all.
due date.
Anyway.
My God, they fucking met. Then they go ahead and they go across.
But the thing is, your example of like Mike,
the
doesn't
town.
No, but hold on. It's not even that it's not serious because it's not even actually supposed to be like based in like reality. Like the shoes and like him jumping like that and going to the fucking NBA. That's not supposed to be
I'm
in
just
any
going
way
through
based
all
on
the-
reality. But I'm saying even if you're making a funny movie,
The
if
town.
even if you're making a funny movie, scary movie, if it's supposed to be based in reality, well then you're kind of are beholden to those kind of whatever trends or tradition. Like what is reality? You're beholden to reality at that point. And like Mike, you're right. We could have a kid in the NBA because their whole thing with going into that movie was like, we're just gonna make a fucking fun,
Stupid-ass
crazy
movie,
kids
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But-
That's fine. And that could exist. And like I said, your other concept could exist, but the point of the fucking movie would have to be that these ladies create a fucking HVAC company because it's so bizarre and so unlikely. And do you
Maybe
I just want to get to
motivating.
these comments, but do you have anything that you want to?
I'm saying it would
We're
probably
gonna
be
get back into
like motivating, yeah, but
Sure.
yeah, but like the town's one where it's like, oh, a bank robber who falls in love with the person he robbed from. How fucking believable! And then he gets away from the FBI. Spoiler alert: he gets
Yeah.
away, and it's like, yeah, no, there's always movies with
Is that what
dramatics.
happened,
It's
though? That wasn't really-
Hollywood. It's not
Yeah.
a true
Well,
story.
hold on. What's your? Okay, I'm trying to because The Town is a great movie. So
It's a
I
fantastic.
just started thinking about that movie. So that was an awesome movie. But what
It's
was
a
your point with
fantastic movie that's a realistic movie, right? It's real. It takes place in a realistic sense,
Yeah.
but the ending and the way the movie plays out is very unrealistic.
that?
Okay. So again, we always do this. It's called Hollywood for a reason. But it's just the fact that
Okay.
why couldn't there be in a woman empowerment or motivating movie where women do a job where it shows that, hey, you can grow up and do this too. It's not just for men. You can do this. Again, we're hypothetically speaking, and
Yeah.
it be an issue to where men have to go, oh, Why is there a movie showing this?
And-
We're pushing an agenda. And
So
it's like,
this
why?
so this unlikely outcome at the end of the town, for example, that you're kind of like conflating with a decision in casting in a story that where we're trying to like represent reality in some way. That's why I'm not necessarily following that, because there are individual things that may, like maybe a bank robber does get away and him falling in love with the bank teller and shit like that. Great movie. And I think, by the way, I don't think like if you would have changed one of his friends to be like an Indian friend, I don't think that would have destroyed the movie or like taken me out of the movie. But honestly, if you would have changed all three of his friends and been like, hey, all three of his friends are fucking Chinese.
Again, they want to make sense with Boston.
Yeah,
they want to make sense where he was.
And once again,
in his backstory, yeah.
And it would have just taken me out of it. Of course, there could be one white guy who's friends with three Chinese guys.
But
of
if
course
the detective was black, would have made a difference.
No.
Or would that have been them trying to pander?
No, but that's the thing. That's why having some restraint is important.
Right.
Why what Disney did was showing no restraint, no subtlety. It was just like I said, we don't even know who the fucking white guys are in the movie. One we know is like Chewbacca or some shit. So it's like there's no restraint there. There's no subtlety, and it takes you out of the storytelling. Now, me, somebody who wants to see representation, typically now I'm thinking about what the like right wing's talking point might be, where I'm like, well, yeah, in this case, there is literally.
Well, you know what? Movies like Rambo, Die Hard, they need to be barred because they really push a narrative that men are badass combat artists who are going to kill everybody on the run.
Some are.
You can survive gunshots and do XYZ.
Yeah, some do.
Again,
some do that.
The point is that we always do this. Like, and again, there's so many men films where it's like it's men centric, and I get it. And I'm not trying to sit there and say like everything is just has to be women empowerment, but it's like I feel like we with diversity in the gender, we now are at this point where we look for the reason to hate on it rather than just allowing it to be a story.
This doesn't have to be by the way. I'm not asking for this to be man-centric. I'm saying like we're coming off of the last Star Wars trilogy, by the way, was based around Rey's story. That was great. That was one fucking straw in the hat. Your last Star Wars trilogy was all about this, and I think this is what Jaded was talking about, this Mary Sue character who there's no build up. It's just she's stronger than everybody for no reason.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Okay, it was dumb as fuck. So that's one strike. This is the same people. That's my thing. Yeah. This is the same people that have taken this same intellectual property and have just fucked it off consistently.
Yeah.
So you have that strike on you, and like I said, Ahsoka. I'm trying to think Mandalorian. I mean, I'm trying to really think there.
Might just be Star Wars. I don't know, but I don't know who's writing it. But like, because like, I mean, shit, Loki wasn't like that. Loki was
Mandalorian. I love, by the way. Mandalorian has a guy who is Hispanic as the lead. That's fine. I don't give a fuck about that. It's cool. But just have other representation. You don't have to have a white person in the lead or even name first or anything like that. It's just. Like I said, the reality is there are still white men who want to be actors that this does take away from, and they're unfair. I don't want.
Sorry, Chris Pratt.
I don't. Well, but there's unknown broke motherfuckers that are trying to be Chris Pratt.
Yeah, that was being an asshole. I'm being an asshole. No,
I see them as, and I mean, this is like something you wanted. I don't want to be hyperbolic and call people victims, but they are in a way where it's like. They say they have to deal with consequences. So they have to deal with consequences from Hollywood before them, where there's this like kind of like weird rewriting that it could just be rewriting where once again, Ahsoka can be a black woman or Hispanic. I'm not sure what, who played her. I think it's, let me see.
Yeah, I feel like there's enough roles out there, but I, what I'll say is I was speaking general. You're speaking specific to them. And I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
No. And I think, you know, we have more similarities there than differences. So we're on the same page. And I think that we might be shut down on Instagram. That's what it's telling me here over here. Anyway, so that's good to know. There's a time limit on Instagram. So we'll get to these comments, then we can go ahead and rock out. So Dune has tons of powerful female characters. It's just the characters make sense. Paul and HVAC company could have all women, but like 99% of the time it's mostly men.
Yeah, 100%.
The audience needs to buy the characters, get immersed into the fictional story.
100%. With story writing, so that's the thing is their story writing could be better than what it is. And that's where it's like I can understand you focusing on that. I'm just focusing on like this just where it's just like everything now is just all there. And I don't think it is. I don't think it's as fucking sought out
Well, I
it's
think-
kind of portrayed.
I think sometimes there is a response to that. I just think that not every response needs to get lumped into the same category where it's like alarmist and you don't want any white people. I mean, you don't want any people of color to be shown on. Like, that's not, I think, what it has to be. There's a middle ground where it's like this maybe is overboard and, like I said, not subtle in any way. Like you're actually causing more friction than you are like some kind of like, I don't know, like bringing people together when you're doing that. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
because you're right. It ends up becoming a talking point where it's like you've now politicized fucking Star Wars.
Jeez, thanks Disney.
and
Shut them
us,
down.
and us now.
Shut them down.
We already suspended reality, but the actor's job is to convince you to believe they're actually the character you are watching. If it makes no sense, you will not buy it. So I mean, that's a good way to put that. By the way, what we were kind of talking about earlier.
We all love Home Alone. And that made no fucking sense. no, just saying.
We will never really buy a 90 girl beating a 90-pound girl beating a 180-pound man. It's just illogical. The town is so good, but the characters are cast appropriately.
Very much.
It's like casting a white man as an African tribesman ridiculous. And then let's see here, same as these Korean shows are great, but let's face it, it would be weird to see all white men in these roles. I'm not sure what Korean shows you're talking about, but yeah, I mean, I agree. There's definitely other instances where it would be weird to see it on its head, and where we have seen it on its head, like we saw John Wayne play Genghis Khan. So that's where I definitely recognize how disgusting.
So I'm glad we're not there anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely recognize how wild Hollywood has been for sure. So there's an issue there, but I just don't think going in the exact opposite way is the right answer.
What's
That's
his
another
name?
video
To
for
play.
another time.
I can't, fuck, I'm so mad at myself for just spacing on his name. Yeah, I'm not gonna remember it. Green
Okay.
Goblin. What's his name?
Oh, William Dafoe.
William Dafoe. Okay, everyone say William H. Macy, but that is the other dude.
Yeah, it's, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Shameless. Yeah.
Shameless too.
But William Dafoe playing Jesus Christ. He's played Jesus, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's really how Jesus was.
I do feel you on that, but at least in that instance, I'll say there's at least there's some disagreements as far as like what that person looked like.
I guess
so.
I guess there's some depictions that we have created.
Some of these other instances.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the character is what they are, and I think even we talked about, like I said, just briefly with Spider-Man. I think there's instances where it even is appropriate. You don't have to have Miles Morales, which that's the character from the Spider-Man animated thing. And he's half black and half Puerto Rican, I think. And I don't hear much issue with that. And I think that's good. That's evidence that character has been written well in the comic books.
Right.
People care about that character on his own, separate from Peter Parker. Right. So, and obviously how successful the films have been. So it's like, that's just what I wish for. It is a disservice in the way that there just isn't as many characters that are based in like their original source material isn't based off of like black people or like people of color in any way. So that's a disservice based off our history for sure. So I mean, I acknowledge that that's there, and that's why there's not a wealth of those characters. So then people have this, I think, urge to then change characters. But and like I said, as long as it doesn't affect the character, I honestly don't have an issue with it. But then again, you still have to be mindful of the other characters. If you're gonna like, I'd use the example of like they did change Mary Jane's race in Spider-Man. I honestly didn't give a fuck about that. It was whatever. It wasn't distracting because they changed it to Zendaya. So so it's like that. Yeah. I didn't give a fuck about that personally. It's not distracting.
That one kind of did about. I was like,
but then
I let it go.
But then if you would have changed her and you would have changed Spider-Man, and then it would have just felt like you were doing the opposite of whitewashing. It's like, okay, now all these characters are black. For why? Why? Literally, it's a question.
I understand that.
Yeah. Either way, well, we've been cooking. This motherfucker's already going to be long as shit to edit.
Oh, sorry.
No, but I love it. Good content. We were vibing.